What if practically no one noticed a quiet, significant action taken by the US government in the cryptocurrency space? Today, the question looms large, lingering beneath the surface of the usual market chit-chat. On the surface, everything appeared to be rather typical. XRP was only a hair away from a recent local high of 3.02, trading at about 2.97. Sure, there was a little decrease, but nothing unusual. A cursory look across the board revealed a similar tale. In the past few hours, there has been a slight decline in the prices of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and even Solana. It seemed to be a market breathing in and out the typical ebb and flow of the digital tide. However, this was not your typical market breath. Due to a piece of news that has left a noticeable and uneasy hole in the heart of the XRP community, this was the stillness before a possible storm. There was an economic dilemma to start the day. The most recent GDP, gross domestic product data, was better than anyone had expected. Meanwhile, unemployment claims were lower than anticipated, indicating a strong and resilient economy. This kind of positive news for the nation may frequently be bad news for risky assets like cryptocurrencies in the weird, upside-down world of financial markets. The Federal Reserve has less incentive to contemplate lowering interest rates, which usually stimulates markets like cryptocurrency when the economy is doing better. The very assets we keep an eye on are being pushed back by a force known as a headwind. Despite this, the market hardly moved. The 85% chance of a rate drop in September obstinately remained unchanged. The charts hardly registered a tremble as the info landed. The whole financial world seemed to be holding its breath, anticipating another surprise. Then it did. The US Department of Commerce suddenly made a historic announcement that will surely go down in the annals of blockchain technology. They said that they would start posting official real GDP figures straight onto the blockchain in July 2025. This was neither a pilot program nor a test run. In order to preserve and share vital economic data, the federal government legally adopted distributed ledger technology. They said that a carefully vetted set of 9 distinct blockchains would be used to broadcast the official data hash and, in certain situations, the top-line GDP figures themselves. The list resembled an all-star lineup and was a real who's who of the industry. Optimism, Solana, Tron, Stellar, Avalanche, Arbitrum One, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Polygon. Trusted exchanges like Coinbase, Gemini, and Kraken were enabling this enormous endeavor, which was being coordinated with industry-leading oracles like Pyth and Chainlink. A moment of undiluted mainstream approval was what it was. However, as the cryptocurrency community rejoiced over this enormous advancement, many who were closely watching came to a terrifying realization. There was a deafening quiet amid the pomp and the list of well-known people. Notably absent was the name of a titan of the business that specializes in institutional and governmental use cases. No reference to XRP or the XRP ledger was made. The US government appeared to have invited everyone to the party, with the exception of one of its most prominent visitors, in a move that felt less like an accident and more like a conscious declaration. When you saw that Stellar, also known as XLM, a project that has a similar lineage to XRP, was on the list, the puzzle became even more complex. The administration appeared to have turned its back on one sibling while reaching out to the other. The question instantly started to reverberate across the neighborhood. Why? Given the multiple reports of high-level meetings between government officials and Ripple executives, why not include XRP on this historic list? What was this silent exclusion trying to say? A market panic, a sell-off fueled by the thought that XRP had been blacklisted, was the first heartbreaking anticipation. However, the narrative becomes much more mysterious when we examine the charts. Has the price of XRP dropped? Indeed, it decreased somewhat from roughly $3.01 to $2.97. Here's the important background, though. Everything else did the same. Ethereum withdrew after being triumphantly listed by the government. XLM, which was also on the list, withdrew as well. Only the tokens specifically mentioned in the collaboration specifications, such as Chainlink and Pyth, experienced a notable uptick in value before also falling victim to the general market decline. It appears that the market did not perceive this news as a direct assault on XRP in particular. No deliberate collapse occurred. The response was odd, almost uninterested, as though the market was unsure on how to react to the news. They took note of the omission. Despite being questioned, the pricing remained stable in comparison to its contemporaries. Neither the reality of exclusion nor the old news of possible blockchain application were brought up. As of right moment, the market is still a sphinx that keeps its secrets hidden. We must discuss an idea that is vital to any serious cryptocurrency investor if we are to fully comprehend the market's subdued response. The scale despotism. The price of the Pyth Network's token, which was identified as an Oracle partner, skyrocketed by a startling 50% when this government news broke. For whoever held it, it was a move that would change their lives. But let's consider things in a different light. Its whole market capitalization increased by almost $500 million as a result of that enormous leap. What if XRP experienced the same $500 million news event? A $500 million infusion is insignificant for a massive enterprise with a market valuation in the tens of billions. Not even a single percentage point of fluctuation would be noticeable. The news must be worth tens of billions or possibly even hundreds of billions rather than millions if XRP is to make a significant impact on it alone. The burden of being a giant is this: even a boulder won't wobble in a breeze that can send a feather flying 50 feet into the air. This explains why there is frequently amazing news about XRP that doesn't seem to affect the price. The catalysts and the asset sizes must coincide. Where does this leave us then at this odd juncture of perplexing exclusion and government adoption? It is up to us to negotiate the rumors and the general mood of the market. In the cryptocurrency world, there is a widely held belief that altcoins will accomplish relatively little 95% of the time. Experienced investors frequently reiterate this belief. They will perform poorly, stall, and try your patience to the breaking point. In the remaining 5% of cases, however, they can produce paradigm-shifting profits of 10x, 20x, or even 30x during short explosive periods, generating wealth for generations in just a few short weeks.